We're going to be talking about lists in this video. It's the first interface of the collection framework that we're going to be talking about. Collections allow us to store more than one value in one variable, and they're packed with handy built-in functionality, a bit unlike the arrays. The Java collection framework provides a set of interfaces and classes that can be used to store and manipulate collections of objects. There are 4 core interfaces in the collection framework: list, set, queue, and map. The list interface is one of the core interfaces in the collection framework, and it's used to store a list of elements. The list interface extends the collection interface, and it provides additional methods for manipulating elements in a list. A list is really just that, a list. Think, for example, of a list of items to buy at a grocery store. This would be just words, so strings on the list. We need to specify what we're going to be putting on our list. This helps to avoid that everything becomes one big mess. And of course, this is done with generics. The list interface and several classes that implement list can be used to create a list. Let's first create a shopping list. I'm going to specify the generic string. As you can see, I need to import Java util list. And I'm going to call this shopping list. Then I need to say new something something list. Remember, list is an interface, so I cannot instantiate that. But ArrayList is a very common implementation of the list interface that we can use. Now I can go ahead and add some items to my shopping list. This is done with the add method. So you say shopping list, which is the name of my variable, dot add, and then in there I specify the string I'd like to add, like this. And I can do this a few times. There we go. That's it. That's my shopping list for now. 3 items only. And I could also create a list of integers. But remember, I was not allowed to use the primitive, so I'd have to use the wrapper class. So let's just create a list of numbers here. Like this. There's actually multiple ways to initialize the list as well, but for now, I'm just going to do it with add. I'm going to be adding 1. And I'm going to be adding 10. And I'm going to be adding 100. It's not that I can only add 3 items, that's just all that I'm willing to type at this moment, and it's enough to demonstrate that I can add multiple items on my list. So again, since list is an interface, we cannot instantiate it. In these 2 examples, we're instantiating the ArrayList instead. ArrayList is a built-in class that implements the list interface. There are multiple options out there, but we'll be only using the ArrayList here. One nice thing about the class in the collection framework is that they have a nice toString method. Remember when we were printing an array, we could not make a lot of sense of it. But actually when I'm printing my shopping list and when I'm printing my numbers, I actually get quite a neat output that even tells me what's on there. As you can see, I get the words that are on my list and I get the numbers that are on my list. Very readable. Alright, so I mentioned there's multiple nice items to go ahead and manipulate the list, so let me show you that. So first of all, I can use the get and then the index to get the value out. So the first item I added is going to have index 0. So x is index 0. There we go. So if I go ahead and print this, we'll get x. I'll show you that in just a minute. What we can also do, we can go ahead and delete items from our list with the remove method. And I can either remove by index or remove by object. So in this case, I'm going to say remove pasta, and that's going to remove the second element, which is index 1. And let me, after this, print shopping list again. Well, there's even more things you can do. As you can see, there's a lot of suggestions when we hit the drop down. You can use add all, which is going to be for adding an entire collection to it. In this This way you can add multiple items all at once. You can use .clear to get rid of all the items on the list. But, and this one is quite nice, you can see if it also contains some object. So if I want to know if my list contains bananas, I can go ahead and check if it contains bananas. So let me store this in a boolean, because this is going to return true or false. There we go. So let me output this as well. And there's more methods on the list, and you'll see these once you need them. But just keep in mind, whenever you feel like, this is something that people would need more often, there's probably something smart built in for this. So let me show you once more what happens if I run this. And as you can see, the 0th element is eggs. Then after removing pasta, we only have eggs and bananas left. And when we see where it contains bananas, it prints true. Please mind, we could also use more complex objects. So our own custom-made animals, users, all sorts of accounts, anything that is an object can be the generic of a list, even another list. So lists are only the first interface of the collection framework that we have a look at. In the next video, we'll have a look at the set interface.